JOK, and I'm with you. I think he was asked to do some things that weren't necessarily his strengths.
So what you're going to get now is you get these 4 linebackers that they're going to have in there. What I mean, there's going to be 2 linebackers generally in the box, and then you're going to get probably Delpit on one side and JOK on the side. But all 4 of those guys are going to be interchangeable. If you watch the 2017 Eagles film with McLeod and Jenkins and a bunch of other guys they're interchangeable parts. They're football players. And I keep saying that with Jim Schwartz's defense, they're football players. But what you're going to get now is you're going to get those guys down in the box. You're either going to get them off the edge, you're going to get them in B gap. Regardless of where he is, he's going to be in space. And those defensive linemen are going to get upfield and penetrate and recreate the line of scrimmage, which is going to allow these guys to basically cover kicks like a special teamer and just find the football. It's that old adage, find the ball, get the ball, and that's what they're going to do. It's going to be very instinctual, and they're going to be able to run. And there's few guys in the league who are as instinctual as JOK. So I think this scheme fits him very well, and I think that's what's been lacking, not his effort, but his scheme.
Yeah, and it makes sense. You don't want an undersized guy to have to read and react. You want him to play downhill. That's the word we keep hearing from Jim Schwartz. All right, this is tell us what you see here in this first clip from JOK.
Well, so you're going to see the right guard. Right guard can't get to him. So just by simply, you're going to get more of this extra. So he sees the outside zone, and he just goes. And if you see him, he's in the middle of the field here. He's at number 28. He's the Mike backer over top. And that right guard has no chance of getting to him. The center, the right guard, whoever it may be, they have no chance of getting to him. I think it might be the center. They have no chance of getting to him because of his speed. This allows him to run. So if those defensive linemen can keep on their guys, it allows him to run free. Now, in some defenses, it's a 2-gap where you occupy. In a Schwartz defense, it's by penetrating. So by penetrating and getting upfield, these linemen can't get to the next level. They're either knocked off by the penetrator or they have to stay on their double because there's no movement. So here he just gets to dip his shoulder and run at the football. And when he arrives at the football, he usually arrives pretty angry. So he's great in space, and I think this is an example of what he's going to do this fall.
Yeah, and to your point there, that's almost a block in the back. That's almost a penalty trying to block him. All right, next one we're going to take a look at a little bit on the edge. Let's take us through what you see in this play.
Well, you see him. He's going to come off the edge. He's on the top of the screen. He's going to bend down in. What he has great change of direction. He has great short area quickness. He has great burst. He's explosive. He's what I call skinny through the hole. So he doesn't give much body surface for an offensive lineman or a tight end or a back to block him. He's a great tackler, even though he missed some tackles in space. If you go back and watch his Notre Dame film, and when he's not getting blocked all the time, he's usually a pretty good tackler, and I think he's going to get back to that. But again, when he's able to run free, so he's able to – they kind of leave him unblocked here, and he's able to run free. And if he's able to do that, he's pretty dynamic. His ability to bend, find the ball, and make tackles. And again, when he gets there, he needs to start causing – all these guys need to start causing turnovers, tips, start creating turnovers, make short fields for the offense. JOK is a guy who can do this. But again, in the Schwartz defense, he's got to be able to be flexible. He can come off the edge here. So the first snap you saw him at the Mike backer, now you see him coming off the edge. That's going to be the case for Delpit. All these guys, they got to be able to play both multiple positions and tackle and get upfield.
And you mentioned the multiple positions. The reason that is going to be important is game to game, they will look for a matchup, and it will be game plan specific, where they can exploit somebody on the offensive side of the football. And once they find it, they're going to keep going back to it.
Well, yeah, now you have the personnel to do that as well. So now you just don't have Myles Garrett. Now you got some defensive linemen that can do that. You got Smith, you got Obo, you got Dalvin Tomlinson. You got some guys who can come off the edge. You got some safeties who can blitz. Delpit's a really good blitzer. JOK is a good blitzer. Walker, Phillips, these guys can all, Taki's a good physical guy. So now they have these guys that can play multiple positions. And you're exactly right. Now they can not only find matchups for the defensive linemen, but they can find matchups for those linebackers as well. So it's a very specific defense, and you're right. It's not anything particular. They're going to find a matchup, and they're going to exploit it.
All right, before we go, there's some concerns, obviously, with JOK. And take us through what you see in this next clip.
So he's going to be at the right. He's going to be at the the right down on the screen here. He's at the Mike backer, so he's going to be just outside inside the right on the hash there. And here's what happens a lot with these Browns linebackers last year is that those defensive linemen get moved backwards, and when they get moved backwards, the offensive linemen are able to come off their double team and just simply wall the smaller Browns linebackers off. So JOK, because he's so explosive and so athletic, Usually an offensive lineman is not going to get into his pads or knock him down, but just by sheer size, they're able to wall him off. And this is a classic example of an inside zone. They're going to double the three technique. They get really good movement on the three technique. And then that right guard number 71 gets to get off on JOK and just push him over. Now this year, they won't be on the line of scrimmage, so the defensive tackles will be upfield. And by being upfield, those double teams won't be able to leave as much, which again is going to allow JOK to run free and Phillips and all these guys to run free. That's going to be the difference. The difference is you're going to see a line of scrimmage that's backwards with Schwartz, and JOK is going to do really well with that.
Yeah, the other thing that the tackles being pushed towards the linebackers does is it eliminates his angle to the ball. And that's kind of what you're seeing there, because his own man is getting pushed back into him, so it negates his speed.
Well, anytime you run a double team, so one of our rules is that one of the rules we talk about is you're trying to get vertical displacement. So before any lineman, so as these guys double this three technique, their golden rule is we got to get this guy moving backwards before one of us can leave. So they're going to, with the Browns, what happened a lot last year is that they would get into that double team and immediately get movement backwards. And you're absolutely right. So what it does is that makes these holes, these lanes really, really big. It makes these gaps really, really big. It makes the gap integrity by both the defensive lineman and the linebacker. You don't really know what gap you have because you've been pushed back somewhere. You've been pushed out of B gap or out of A gap. So again, they got to do a better job of not getting vertically displaced backwards. And if you watch that 2017 Eagles film or all Schwartz's defenses, that's not going to happen. Doesn't mean they don't give up plays at times, but they're not going to get pushed around and they're going to get vertically upfield. So they're actually going to do the opposite. They're going to vertically displace the offensive lineman backwards.